Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. Sorry for the lengthy delay for this next review. I'm returning to you for review this Thanksgiving evening, of course. So this is for Megadeth's Dystopia album review. Their, I believe, 15th marathon studio album review I'm doing. Technically, this would be the last album to review, but I'm gonna re-review The Sick, The Dying, and the Dead on Monday, and then that should be it. So Monday, expect the Megadeth discography album reviews to end then on the 28th. So yeah, this is for Megadeth Dystopia album that I'm going to be reviewing for you guys. So I'm going to discuss for all 16 tracks. 2 of them are covers, a few are bonus tracks and an instrumental and regular songs as well. So I'll let you know what I thought of this Megadeth 15th studio album, Dystopia. So let's dive into this album review. Now, basically, this came out in 2016, and I'm sorry for the ding. That's my phone. It always fucking does that for some odd reason. I don't know what was going on with that, but basically, it just annoyed and ruined the video a bit. So please forgive me on that happening. The Threat is Real is the first track on the album, and that's a pretty good song, in my personal opinion. I really enjoyed this track. It's got great vocals from Dave Mustaine in this song. The aggression in it is amazing with the instrumentation and Dave Mustaine's vocals. So, really digging this track, so 5 out of 5. The title track, Dystopia, is a pretty strong track. That's the next song after The Threat is Real, and it is pretty strong of a track. I really love this song. So 5 out of 5. I think this album is much better than the last album I listened to from in their discography, which was Super Collider, which that album was a total shit show of garbage, in my opinion. Fatal Illusion is another great song. Really enjoyed it. There's some moments where Dave Mustaine has some weird vocal pitches, how he's singing the track and all that. It kind of has some weird moments, but I think for what it's going for, the song did very well. So 5 out of 5. Death from Within is another great song in my opinion. I really like how it's sounding guitar wise, drum wise, and Dave Mustaine's vocals. And the execution of the track is doing pretty well over me. So I'm really digging this song. So 5 out of 5. If you hear the dog in the background, it's my neighbor's dog or whatever, so please forgive that noise and all that. And the noise earlier, of course, so yeah. Bullet to the Brain is another great song off this album. Really enjoyed it. Dave Mustaine's vocals in it sounds pretty well done, and just the overall execution of the track performed very well with the instrumentation, with the guitars and drum work. Really digging it and how it's sounding overall. I like the lyrics to it as well. There's more aggressive and uh, pretty strong lyricism in this track. Weird lyricism at times, but it works with how Dave Mustaine is singing it. So 5 out of 5. Post American World is a pretty strong track in my opinion. Really enjoyed this song. Just the way it's sounding. I think they had this as a music video as well. So yeah. Um, haven't checked out the music video to be honest, but that's something I may decide to do in the future. But still, 5 out of 5 for Post American World. Really enjoyed this track for what it went for. It's a really rockin' song for sure. And drum wise and guitar wise, it's pretty strong. Poisonous Shadows. I like some of the way the song is sounding overall. It's just, yeah, it's a very long song. It's like 6 minutes and 2 seconds, I believe. So you're in for a very lengthy track for this track, of course, off this album, Dystopia. But it does pretty solidly. I guess I did say it was a strong song, There's some moments with Dave Mustaine's vocals in this track that I don't know if I'm feeling for with this song. But other than that, the instrumentation is pretty strong in it, and some of the mixing is pretty solid. So, 4.5 out of 5 for Poisonous Shadows. Look Who's Talking, bonus track. That's part of a, I guess they added it if you listen to the Japanese version for this album or whatever. So that's what I did. I just went by all 15 songs or whatever that I personally wanted to review for this album. So basically, Look Who's Talking was pretty strong of a track. I like it drum wise. Some of the lyrics I don't know if I'm feeling for, but I guess it works with the song, so 5 out of 5. Conquer or Die instrumental. It starts off pretty mellow, and I'm not sure if I like that, but when it gets into the instrumentation, that's where it starts really sinking in with me, meaning it's growing on me a lot more than I thought. So, pretty much this track did rock, for sure, and the guitar work in it and the solos are great in this song. So, 5 out of 5. Lying in State is another great song in my opinion. Really enjoyed this track for how it sounded and execution wise. This track performed very well. So 5 out of 5. The Emperor is the next song, and that's where the lyricism can be on the safe side and a little cringy in my opinion. Like when Dave Mustaine's singing the chorus about how the Emperor wears no clothes or something like that, it just doesn't strike me as good lyricism in my opinion. So that song, even though instrumentally it's great, lyrically it lacked. It was a lackluster. So it kind of brought the rating down, but it's still not a bad track instrumentally. So 4.5 out of 5. It's one of my least favorites. Um, Last Dying Wish is a pretty strong track. Really enjoyed this one. Um, I like how it's sounding with Dave Mustaine's vocals in this track. There's some moments where I don't know if I can deal with his vocal range, but I guess with this song it works because of the lyrics and all that, and it performs very well instrumentally, so 5 out of 5. Foreign Policy had some weird vocals from Dave Mustaine with how he was bringing in the chorus with the foreign policy kind of thing or whatever. It got to a point where it got repetitive in my opinion, but other than that, solid track. Not their worst, but not my favorite. Um, it's just my least favorite, but it did good in its own way, so 4.5 out of 5. Melt the Ice Away bonus track. Actually, to be honest, Foreign Policy was a Fear cover track that they covered, and I forgot to mention that, so please forgive me if I didn't mention that. And Melt the Ice Away is a Budgie cover, the band Budgie, I believe. And that one was solid too. There's some moments where Dave Mustaine is not performing the song very well with his vocals, in my personal opinion. But I think instrumentally it did pretty well for a metal track. So 4.5 out of 5. Me Hate You bonus track is a regular song. It's not a cover track. It's one of the bonus tracks to close out this album. And it did pretty well. So 5 out of 5. Wasn't really hating this one. I really enjoyed how it ended, this album. And it ended pretty strong. So it ended with one last good song being the strongest song. But everything else is pretty strong in this album too. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for Me Hate You bonus track. Overall, production, mixing, and execution wise, I think Megadeth Dystopia, their album, their 15th studio album, for this second to last marathon discography album reviews, I think this was a pretty good step up in the right direction. Megadeth saw the opportunity to make a pretty good album, and they did. They made a pretty good album this time around. and I was really pleased with this one more than Super Collider. That album just gave me a headache, for sure. So, yeah, overall, in my opinion, I think Megadeth Dystopia album was a pretty good listen. Definitely recommend checking it out for yourself to see what you think of it. And first score for me, I'm giving Megadeth Dystopia album an 8.5 out of 10. Pretty good listen. There's some songs that I personally can't connect with, but other than that, the songs I would mention that I can't connect with are Poisonous Shadows, The Emperor, Foreign Policy Fear cover, and Melt the Ice Away Budgie cover. And two of those last songs I mentioned are bonus tracks. So, yeah. But still, they weren't the worst songs. They just weren't something that was my cup of tea. But other than that, the rest of the tracks are very strong. So 8.5 out of 10 for Megadeth Dystopia. Comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of the Megadeth Dystopia album, if you've listened to it, their 15th studio album. And if you did enjoy this 15th studio or 15th Marathon Studio album review I did in Megadeth's discography Dystopia, their 2016 album, comment below and let me know what you guys thought of this album review if you enjoyed it. Tap a like on this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you can. Support the channel. I'll have another review coming out for the final re-review, actually. It's going to be a re-review because I'm going to review 2 extra tracks with that album. And that's for The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead by Megadeth. I'm going to re-review it on November 28th. So definitely tune into that review. It's probably going to come out during the day, of course. So during Monday morning or Monday going into late morning, early afternoon. Just depends on when I get around to it, of course. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this Megadeth Dystopia album review. Keep in mind, I expressed my own opinion and gave you my own personal take on this album. And if you did enjoy this album, yeah, this was a pretty strong album. This was better than Super Collider, in my opinion. So, yeah, I was really pleased with this album. And I was really enjoying the tracks a lot more. So, this was Megadeth at their best. So, stay safe, guys. Take care. There will be another review coming out as soon as I get around to it. And as always, I will see you in my next review.